Hey sweet friends, today we're going to watercolor paint a ribbon bow in shades of pink. This step-by-step tutorial is perfect for you beginners, but if you start to feel overwhelmed, just press the pause button, rewind and replay. Just take your time and have fun. Be sure to like and save the video to your playlist so you can come back to it at any time. And for this tutorial, I've made you a free printable pattern. If you just tap on the link below in the description box, you'll find that information to download and print the pattern and the supply list. While you're at it, follow our channel and hit that bell icon. Now let's get going. So I'm just going to start off by grabbing and activating some of my pink. I'm going to put it over here in the palette. Let's see if I can get this in the screen. So I'm just going to grab some of my pink, get it activated over here, lots of water, and let's pick a lighter pink too. Let's use some of this light pink. Oh, we just got some blue in there, but that's okay. We'll use some of this lighter pink. So I'm going to take my brush. It's just wet. Let's clean it off. I'm going to take my brush wet. I'm going to pick up some of this soft pink that I just mixed up over here in my palette. I'm just going to create a nice little wash. It's going to be very soft and see-through. And I'm just going to use the tip of my brush, pull that up, and I'm going to get pretty much every bit of this bow with this color. I'm just going to pick up some more water. I'm going to pull that around. So I'm just going to fill in one side of my bow. Pull that color around. It's that really soft, peachy pink, right? So I can come over and I'm going to dip in just a little tiny bit of that brighter pink. I'm going to dot some of that right there where the bow meets the knot. Going to drop some of this pink right up to about there, and I'm going to stop because this is all wet. I can, where that little circle is, I want to leave that a little bit brighter, so I know wherever, in case you don't know, wherever two colors meet and it's wet on the paper, they're going to blend, right? So I want to minimize just a little bit of the blending. I'm going to drop some of that more. I can blot my brush off a little bit and pull that pink through. I'm going to stick around the edges of the bow. I'm going to try to leave this, actually what I'm going to do is wet my brush, clean it, dry it off, and I'm going to use this brush like a mop. I want you to watch this really close. This got a little too dark for my liking. So I'm drying my brush and I'm going to bring it in here. It's still wet. I'm going to roll it softly and pull, and you'll see where it's pulling the color up from the page. And I can come in and keep doing that because I want to create a little bit of a highlight there. I'm going to leave that be. Now this is going to be the top of my bow. I want the bottom to be darker. So I'm just going to come in again with this darker pink, and I'm going to add a little bit more of that darker pink to this under part of the bow. Now let's do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to clean my brush. I've got a lot of water on it, so I'm just going to tap it off a bit, and I'm going to come in here to that lighter peach pink. See it over here. Let's pull this in a little bit more. And I'm going to do that whole top part of the ribbon bow. Just going to fill that in with that wash of that soft, pale, pinkish peach color. And I'm also going to pull it down and do the same. So we're painting wet on dry, wet water, wet paint onto dry paper. Okay, so now these areas that are pink or peach are wet now. So if I come back in, I'm going to clean my brush, tap it off on my paper towel. I'm going to tap into that bright pink. And to take a little bit of that off, I can tap on my paper towel. Right? And then I'm going to tap that right there in the center and let some of that brighter pink start, because now we're painting wet on wet. Those two colors are going to blend. So the color on the bottom is still wet. The color that I put on now is going to blend in. So I'm going to come over here and tap a little bit here at the bow where the bow meets the knot, and I'm going to tap out here and spread that just a bit. I can pull it down the sides just gently with the tip of my brush, and you'll see how this side we controlled the spread a little bit more than over here. I want to come back on this side now with that deep pink, and I'm just going to pull that up and out from the center of the bow. See how I just made a nice little line, and we're creating a shadow. I can do the same. I'm just going to come back and almost creating an outline around the outside of the ribbon, because I want that to be a little bit darker. Okay, and then this side now I'm going to come in, and you'll see where I left that little circle in the, and again, you can come over below in the description box. You can get this exact printable and all the supplies used so that you can paint this right along with me. So, you know, finish watching, but go ahead over, print out your printable, come back and paint with me, right? So see how this bottom part has started to dry a bit. The paper's not quite as dry as it was when we did this top part, and I can create my little bit of a shadow, my little bit of a highlight down here. Even though this is the bottom of the bow, I want a little bit of a shadow. It's a little bit harsher than I want, so I've dried my brush off, and I'm just very lightly going to blend those two colors together. Now, over here, it's a little bit harsh. I'm going to do the same. I can wet my brush. I can tap it off on the paper towel. It's going to be wet, but not soaking wet. I can use that brush now, just very softly, the tip of the brush, and blend that really harsh edge of the pink down into the bow. So I can blend the harsh edges that way. I'm going to come back over here now. I want this upper outer edge of my ribbon to be a bit darker. This is where it folds to the back. So this is the front of the ribbon. That is the back of the ribbon of the bow. So I'm just bringing some more of that bright pink, and you can keep building the color. I can come over and grab a little bit more of my pink, and I can deepen that even more. So I can make that really, really deep pink. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to come in with some pretty deep pink. I'm just adding more pink from my palette into my water. The same pink that we've been using. And I am going to follow the edges. I want to make sure that that is nice and dry. But I'm going to do the same here. We're just going to repeat this on all four parts of this ribbon. So we've got the underside of the ribbon bow here. So we've got part 1, part 2. Well, there's actually 5. So we've got 3, 4, and then the knot. We're going to let the knot dry, because if we do the knot now, anything wet here and here will blend right in. So we're going to come and do, let's come down here and do this side, and we'll do this side. We'll do them at the same time. So we're going to work from light to dark. Let me just push this back. We're getting a really bad shadow. I'm going to move the water out so that we're not getting that shadow, and pull the paint in. We've got the pale peach, we've got the deeper pink. right? So lots of water in my brush. And I am going to come and pick up some of that pale peach. And I'm going to wet both. I'm just going to do a very nice little white, not white, but light peach wash. And when you see here where my brush is starting to run out of water, it's getting very dry. I really don't want any more paint on my brush at this point. There's still plenty on there. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit of water on my brush to re-wet it. And you see there where I tapped into that upper bow. It's okay, it's just gonna pull that bright pink down. So we're just gonna use our water and pull that all the way down and soften it down the bow. It's just gonna create our little bit of a highlight. Now, if you do leave some of the white of the paper, don't worry about that. That just creates an even lighter highlight. And on the template, again, you can get the template. All you have to do is go below in the description box, and I can give you this template, but you'll see in the template, I have areas marked where you're going to want to leave a light highlight. Then anything around that, we can start building some of that color. So I can come over and pick up some of my, just a little bit of my deeper pink. I can start tapping that in. My first ribbon is already starting to dry. So you'll see that that color is not blending as quickly as it did over here. Watercolor is all about playing with water control. I can come and get some more water again, bring that color around. Remember, we can soften and lighten colors with water. I'm gonna come and add, it's just a game. I'm playing back and forth with my brighter pink, sticking around the edges, and where those bubbles are that I want to leave a highlight, I'm gonna leave that original pink there. Okay, and now this one here, I'm gonna come around. It's still a little bit wet, so it's going to blend. All right, so you see where I've got the highlight. This one, we might want to just come in and remove some of that. Remember to remove. We're going to wet the brush, clean it. It's a clean brush. We're going to tap it off, and we're going to use that brush like a mop. We're going to lift that color off. If it's still wet, it should come off fairly easily. See how we just lifted that and created that shadow a little bit lighter. Now I'm going to come over here. This side is starting to dry. So now I'm going to get my darker pink, that really bright pink, or the darker of whatever colors that you are using. And I'm going to come down. I want to highlight here. And I have a circle here where I want a highlight. So I'm going to go around that circle. It's dry. You'll see where it's not spreading into that. And that's okay. We're just going to come back with our water in a minute, and we're going to soften that. But I'm going to just keep pulling that color. I can pull some of the brush, some of that color with the brush, and push it down here more where I want it. That deeper pink, I'm going to go around the edges as long as it's wet, and I'm just going to keep spreading that color. Okay, that's pretty wet there. I'm going to come in, remember how we lift. I'm going to wet my brush, clean it, tap it off, and dry it. And I am going to lift some of this pink off to create a bit of a brighter highlight. Got a little bit darker than I wanted it to. But hey, it's your painting your way. Now these have that dark ring around them, and I don't want them. So if we remember correctly, we can come in with our water, and our brush is still wet, but we don't want it sopping wet. So we're gonna dry that brush on the paper towel, and we're just gonna come in here softly with the tip of our brush, and we are going to blend those colors. Chances are If you like girly pink bows, you probably like makeup. So I like to think of makeup as paint, and just as though we're applying makeup to our face and blending it out, we're doing the same here with our watercolor. So I'm just gonna lightly blend those colors until I'm happy. Like over here, it's got a really nice soft blend. And a little bit more water. Blend that in. A little bit more water. And just like I did up here, I can always come back and fiddle. But the beauty of watercolor is it's delicate. You do not want to keep overworking it. The less you go over an area, usually the better it turns out. I can come in here with a little bit of deeper color and deepen some of my shadows. This is just that same deep pink. I'm just going to deepen some of the shadows areas. And it all does not have to be perfectly blended, right? So now I'm going to get some more color. Running out of my pink here. Let's get some more of this beautiful pink color mixed up over here. Some more water in there. Tap off the brush. And I really want to work on giving this a sharp edge here where the top of the ribbon goes into the bottom of the ribbon, right? So I'm going to bring that like that. So right here, this would be a crisp edge where the ribbon folds over. I want to just really build that area there with color. That's way too much paint in that area, so I'm going to pull some of that off and then pull it down through the bottom of the ribbon. This part here is pretty much dry in the very center of the bow. Let me pull that up so you can see it. In the very center of the bow is a highlight area. So we want to make sure that that stays nice and light. So I'm going to come in here with my light peach color, just the tiniest bit. And I want to give that, we're going to do something that we kind of worked quickly all the way around our ribbon. You can soften edges wherever you're not happy with them. But oh my goodness, I am just in love with this pretty little pink bow. And we want to let this dry almost till it's really, really, really dry. Almost. We don't want it completely dry. But I want that. I'm just tapping it with my finger to feel. It's still wet, but it's not overly wet. I don't want a lot of water on my brush. So I'm going to come into the color and I'm just going to tap some of that off. And I'm going to just come around the edge of my circle. I'm testing to see how fast that color is going to blend. And then I'm just going to come around that little bit of a highlight there. So, and I can build my color up now that way. I want to make that really, really deep there. I want to really, just like we made a nice little line, the edge of our bow, I want to do the same with the knot. And there you have a nice pretty pink coquette bow. Again, I would love it if you would paint with me. If you like my style of teaching, go to the description box below and grab my free gift to you, which is the tutorial, the workbook for this, your supply list. If you like this, please subscribe, hit that bell button, like and share this video. Would love that. Bye everybody.